As the Philadelphia 76ers were eliminated from the postseason with a remarkable shot by Kawhi Leonard, it is now their offseason now begins. It's now time to ask the tough questions. Where does Philadelphia go from here? I believe they're going to give Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons another year or two. So let's just exit them out of this situation. Let's just act as if Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons won't be traded this summer. So the Philadelphia 76ers have 2 top-tier free agents. Technically, if they wanted to, they could re-sign both of these guys and just go deep into the luxury tax. But a team that wasn't able to get past the semifinals, maybe they consider doing this if they got to the finals. But to do that for a team that just lost in the second round, I think that's a bit much. They're not re-signing both of these guys, and Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. They're going to pick one of these guys. And I gave y'all a story about a month ago, and I told you guys that the Philadelphia 76ers were leaning towards re-signing Tobias Harris and letting Jimmy Butler walk just because Jimmy Butler was a problem within organizations, a little bit of a problem with Philly, definitely a problem with Minnesota, definitely a problem with Chicago, hence the trades. And they were more committed to a guy like Tobias Harris. Not a lot of me in Tobias Harris, a team guy. His game can work with pretty much any system in the NBA. It seems like he could play off of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid for the future. You know, they might lose JJ Redick, that shooter. You got a guy in Tobias Harris who has a sweep for him. So that was a little bit into the why we picking Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. But when you got to the playoffs, here's where the problem lies for Michael Rubin, the owner of that team and company. Jimmy Butler was clearly a better player overall than Tobias Harris in that series against the Raptors. Not only that, Jimmy Butler became one of the fan favorites. They're going to want him over Tobias. Is it the right move long term? I'm not so sure. They both got their ups and downs. Jimmy Butler is more aggressive in times where I want my guys to be aggressive. But Tobias Harris' even kill personality can also work for me, right? Like that's great at certain times, but other times I want a Jimmy Butler. I would love for this team to keep both of their guys, but I'm gonna be honest with you. One of these guys is going to get re-signed most likely, and the other end up in Los Angeles, Brooklyn, New York, or somewhere in between, right? I think in my heart of hearts, Michael Rubin is going to still roll with Tobias Harris, even though it's going to really upset that fan base. I'm not saying he should do that. I'm just telling you this is what I think is going to happen. They're going to take Tobias Harris. He might take a hair lower than the max offer that he can get, and it might allow them the opportunity to go sign a couple bench players. Jimmy Butler's going for max money. He's not taking a cent less than something. That I know for a fact. So we'll see. They got big question marks coming up in Philadelphia, though. What do you do? Who do you keep? Do you keep Jimmy Butler and Tobias and maybe trade Embiid? I'm just asking you a question. What is the direction of their team? They're most likely not going to keep both of these guys. What would you trade Ben Simmons? It's a good question. I doubt they trade Simmons or Embiid. They already let Fultz go. They're going to want to at least keep some of these. They take for like 8 years, right? They're going to want to keep a couple of these guys. They traded Saric, Covenant. You got to start. You got to keep one of these guys because you traded Markelle Fultz. And I know Markelle Fultz was a part of the Orlando Magic trade, but still, you don't make that trade unless you're bringing in a Tobias Harris. So essentially, you traded Fultz and Boban, and now you end up with Tobias. And then you traded Saric and Covenant, 2 starters for your team, and you ended up with Jimmy Butler. You got to keep one of these guys because that's like 4 picks that just went down the drain for you guys. I'm interested in seeing who they roll with. My guess is Tobias, though. Not saying it's right, but that's my guess. What y'all think in the comment box below? I'm out. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
I got the kids. You are now tuned in.
Yo, we locked in right now,
Mr.Taliaferro.
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 Mr. Shout out to Mr. Taliaferro.
You're watching Mr.Taliaferro TV.
Mr. Taliaferro TV. Here with the Triple B's. You can't do nothing but win.